I was saying, Joy Taylor, every dog has its day. And since I'm a big dog, I've got 2 days.
Okay.
So now.
You just called yourself a dog?
Yeah, I'm a dog. Yeah, I'm a big dog, a big one.
Kevin Durant is 6'11", who can pull up from 40. Okay. This brother is on that level. I'm talking about offensively.
Do you think you're better than Jarrell Revis is right now?
I'm better than you.
Welcome to another episode of the Lowdown Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Brown, as always, and thanks for clicking the link. So whatever streaming platform you guys are listening on, I appreciate it. Whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, you name it. Just like that turkey challenge that happened back in 2016. Terrible reference, but I'm going to just leave it there. So today I'll be covering a few things. It'll be mainly track and field and some NFL updates. So starting off, I'm going to be doing track and field. You know why? Because the USA Track and Field Indoor Championships happened just this past weekend, and I wanted to talk about it previously, but I didn't get a chance to get to it. So I'm going to get to it now. So for you track fans, be ready, because I'm going to have some hot takes out. All right, so starting off, I'm going to say this, 2 words. Christian Coleman. Christian Coleman, as a matter of fact. This man broke the world record a few years back in the 60-meter dash. He ran a 6.34, and that was 2 years ago in the USA Track and Field Indoor Championships. And this past weekend, he was just 0.03 of a second shy of tying it. He ran a 6.37 and won the gold medal as usual. So now he holds the first and second fastest times in history in the indoor 60-meter dash. Maurice Green is number 2 on the all-time list with a 6.39, and this was over 20 years ago. So this is what happened, though. I was actually surprised Coleman ran a 6.37. I really assumed he would break it, his initial record, because when he ran a 6.34, I can't remember from the top of my head what he ran in the prelims, but this year's prelims, this man ran a 6.48, and he slowed up. He slowed up like the last 10 to 15 meters. This guy he bursts out of the blocks, right? He slows up in the last 10 to 15 meters, still runs a 6.48. So I was assuming, oh man, this dude's going to break the world record easily. But no, it didn't happen. He ran a 6, but still, that's blazing speed, man. He has now, like I mentioned, the first and second fastest times in history. So again, that's a huge takeaway for Christian Coleman. I'm looking forward for the Olympics this year. It's going to be in Tokyo, Japan this summer, so definitely stay tuned for that. I really believe that Christian Coleman has the capability to either tie the American record. I don't know. See, the world record is a stretch because that's Usain Bolt. He ran a 9.58 back in 2009 in Berlin in the World Championships. And here's the thing about Bolt. Here's the difference between Usain Bolt and Christian Coleman. I'm going to compare real quick. Christian Coleman is about 5'8", 5'9", right? Weight doesn't really matter. He's only 5'8" or 5'9". Usain Bolt is 6'5". You guys are probably wondering, okay, why does height matter when you're sprinting? It does a little bit because Usain Bolt, since he's taller, he has longer legs, so therefore he's taking less steps as he's running. So he's basically conserving energy. The more steps you take, the more energy you burn. And Usain Bolt's taking less steps. So he has that God-given talent of speed, and he also has that God-given genetics of being 6'5". So when plus he was a 400 guy. He was a quarter guy. Usain Bolt didn't only run the 100. The 100 was actually new to him as he got older. He was more of a 200-meter runner and a 400-meter runner. I don't know if you guys know about his history, but that's what he started off in. It was the 2 and the 4 whenever he was a teenager. And this man was running a low 20-point, a near 9, like a low, like a 20.0. So pretty much his 200 range was between a 19.9 to like a 20.2 whenever he was between age of 16 through 19. This is whenever he was a lot younger. This is years back. He made it look easy. And in the quarter, he ran below a 46. He ran a 45. And this is whenever he's also a teenager. So Bolt started off as a quarter runner. And like all track coaches say, for track coaches that are listening to this, your 400-meter time benefits you and your 200 and your 100, all of those. So any sprint that's shorter than 400 meters of a distance, if you run a decent quarter time, your 100 and 200 times or any race below that will drop. I guarantee it. That's just a method. I mean, that's not rocket science. It's pretty obvious because the 400 is a gut race. It's a sprint. It's not a jog. And people who think that the 400-meter dash is easy, it's always just one lap. It's just one lap. No, get out of here. Get out of here right now. You don't understand how difficult it is to run the 400. You got to really train for that. You have to have the stamina, the endurance, and you have to have the willpower. I feel like at the end of the day, it's more of a mental thing to be running the 400 than anything else. Think about it. You already got the God-given talent. Everybody who's running track, who's fast, who makes it to that point, whoever makes it to the collegiate level or especially runs professionally, they all fast. They're all fast for a reason. They made it that far. They're pros. So it depends on your mentality. Obviously, there's God-given talent involved, but it's the mentality. It's the Mamba mentality. Usain Bolt has that Mamba mentality. This dude was always relaxed when he ran. And the fact that he ran a 9.58 is because the 400, when he was running the 400 and the 200, he has the world record in both races, the 1 and the 2. The 2, he ran a 19.19. I do not see anybody breaking neither of those records in a long time. Now, Christian Coleman, don't get it twisted. Christian Coleman has defeated Usain Bolt before. Now, in the 2017 World Championships, that was Usain Bolt's last race. In the 100, Usain Bolt got third. Christian Coleman got second, and Justin Gatlin got first. So Christian Coleman actually defeated Usain Bolt head up, but Usain Bolt was rusty in 2017. He didn't really have the same type of, feat that he had back in 2009, between the years 2009 to 2013. Usain Bolt suffered a lot of injuries over his career, and he had to retire early. But hey, when you run a 9.58 and a 19.19 in both the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash, I might as well retire too. I mean, there's really no point. I mean, I don't see anybody touching those records. Christian Coleman first has to break the American record, which is held by Tyson Gay. He ran a 9.69 back in 2010, I believe. So at least 10 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago at most, he ran a 9.69, and that's win legal. All these times are win legal. Again, so Christian Coleman has what it takes. So first, I'm gonna do the baby step method. Christian Coleman has to first break Tyson Gay's record. I feel like he has the capability to run near it because as of now, Christian Coleman's PR is a 6.79, and that's only just a fraction, just 1/10 of a second. So all Christian Coleman has to do, his start is beautiful. He has the fastest 60-meter time in the world. Now the 100 meters is another 40 meters. So your finish is going to be a key indicator for Christian Coleman. He needs to work on his finish more than anything else. And you know how you work on your finish? Endurance. And that's from what? The 400 and the 200. And that's what Christian Coleman is not very strong at. He's not a strong 200 runner or a 400 runner. He gets defeated by Noah Lyles in the 200 all the time. He can't even run with that guy. Usain Bolt can beat both those guys. So with that being said, Christian Coleman, I just don't see it happening. I don't see him going near Usain Bolt's record, but maybe the 9.69. But he has to work on his finish for that. So here. So I didn't mention I was going to bring up some hot takes. So here's some hot takes about track real quick. I don't really hear that many hot takes in track, but I'm going to do it. I'll be the first one to do it, all right? So, first of many. So, here it is. Now, I know on Twitter, this was on SportsCenter, this was on Bleacher Report, it's on several different platforms, sports media platforms. They were saying that Tyreek Hill is considering running in the Olympics this year, which I don't blame him. He's the fastest guy in the NFL today. He's fastest by far. I don't think anybody can hang with this guy. The only ones I can think of is Marquise Goodwin. Not even Marquise Goodwin can hang out with him. I'm going to explain why in a second. But nobody can physically keep up with Tyreek Hill when it comes to a foot race. No one in the NFL. No one comes close. And he does have the speed and the talent to compete in the Olympics. But when it comes to placing or possibly making the finals in the 100 or the 200, I don't know. Now, in 2016, the times back then weren't as fast as you can think of. Tyreek Hill would have been he would have placed between 4th and 8th or 9th, 4th to last. I remember seeing a video about that. So Tyreek Hill had what it takes back in 2016. But this year, there's so many elite runners. I don't know about that. You got people like Noah Lyles. You got people like Michael Norman, possibly Matthew Bowen, who's only 20 years old right now. No, he's not even 20. He's still 19. He's 19 going on 20. So this guy's only 19 years old, and I'm going to break that down in a second too. So Tyreek Hill can definitely compete, but making the finals is going to be a stretch. But I can see him advancing to like the semifinals or the quarterfinals. I can see him advancing, but I don't know about making the finals. So this is why. And, okay, now before I proceed with that, I'm going to bring up track. I'm going to compare track to football because the NFL was talking about Tyreek Hill. Now, Tyreek Hill is an exception. He's the fastest guy. He's a track guy that's playing football, or vice versa. He's extremely elite in both sports. In my opinion, Tyreek Hill should keep it up. He should run in the Olympics this year. Why not? Track helps your football, right? And they won the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl champion, for crying out loud. Let him go out there and run. Let him do his thing. Have fun. But at the same time, it's kind of a risk for Tyreek Hill to do that because you don't want to risk him getting injured. Track and field. Guess what the number one injury is in track and field? Hamstring injuries or Achilles injuries, those two. And if Tyreek Hill were to tweak or pull his hamstring, he's not playing football for a while. So that's a risk, but it's up to him. It's up to the NFL. It's up to, those in charge. But I personally think if I were in the same shoes as Tyreek Hill, I would definitely go ahead and compete in the Olympics. This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. It's once every 4 years. Tyreek Hill's 25 years old. You add another 4 years, he'll be 29. So, as long as time, the longer time passes. Now, at the same time, Justin Gatlin's an exception. Justin Gatlin is pushing 40, and he's still running elite times. He's still sticking with guys like Christian Coleman, who's 20 years younger than he is, roughly, or 15 years younger. 15 to 20 years younger, as a matter of fact. So the fact but Justin Gatlin's an exception. I'm not saying Tyreek Hill doesn't have what it takes to be elite whenever he's in his late 30s to early 40s, but that's just, that's a hard prediction to make right now. So Tyreek Hill definitely should run. So there's that. Now, here's the thing about track and football. None of these guys, like Tyreek Hill, for example, none of these guys can hang with Christian Coleman. Christian Coleman's on a different level. He's on the same level as Usain Bolt and Tyson Gay, some of the fastest guys in world history. Tyreek Hill's not there. Tyreek Hill's just more like a guy like, I don't even know if he can compete with Trayvon Brumell when he's healthy. Trayvon Brumell and Tyreek Hill is really close, but Brumell or Elijah Hall, those two guys, like Tyreek Hill can't even stick with them, all right? So Tyreek Hill's also a little rusty because he's playing football. He's not in track shape. Track shape and football shape is completely different. Football, you have to lift. There's different workouts that you have to consider doing, and you have to eat more. You have to be a little bit bulkier than track runners. So there's that. But Tyreek Hill still has elite speed. But whenever I compare it, like, I'm gonna name two track guys that are playing football. Like, besides Tyreek Hill, here's the other guy, Marquise Goodwin. Now, Marquise Goodwin, in my opinion, he doesn't have he's not on the same level as Tyreek Hill. It's in the 60-meter dash, it's pretty close. Both guys ran 6.6, but when it comes to the 100, when legal, Marquise Goodwin only ran a 10.4 flat. That's it. There's guys in high school that run that time. The fastest times in state are usually a 10.3 or below. So Marquise Goodwin's 100 time is not great. His 200 time is also not great. It's a 21.9. That's what he ran when he was in college. But given that, he didn't really compete in college that much. I mean, he did compete in the Olympic trials, but he didn't make it far. He was just doing field events, not sprinting events. So that definitely throws him out of the window. So Tyreek Hill is really the only guy I can compare to Christian Coleman, and Christian Coleman stomps him. Think about it. If you're running a 6.3 in the 60, and Tyreek Hill going full speed running the 6.64, that's his fastest time while he was in college. He ran that in the Big 12 Indoor Championships back in 2014 and got second, didn't even get first. Now, he won the 200, though. His 200 was a 20.57. And now that's going to allow me to segue into Matthew Bowling. So this year, Matthew Bowling is only a freshman, and the indoor season is still not complete. The indoor track and field championships is not until March 13th and 14th, next month. So this guy still has a few meets left. So if I look at the schedule right now, today's what, February 19th? So he has the SEC championships, which are happening not this weekend, but next weekend. And then the NCAA championships are going to be a couple weeks after that. So he has one meet left to prove himself. And so far, he's definitely proven. I mean, he already has what it takes. Matthew Bowling got second place in the orange and purple meet. And this is a few weeks back. He ran a 6.68 in the 60. And in the 200, he ran a 20.90, getting fifth place in the Razorback invite. So he ran a 20.90, and that's fifth. But this guy's only a freshman. So I'm going to do this. Here's the hot take. Matthew Bowlin's already faster than Tyreek Hill. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If they were to race right now, so here's another thing. Tyreek Hill hasn't been training for track, so that's another takeaway. But I really think Matthew Bowling can beat this guy running. I really see it. I mean, another thing is Matthew Bowling ran a 46. He ran a 46.1. He ran a 46. Yeah. He ran a 46. I don't know what the exact time was, but he ran a 46-second 400 in high school. He didn't even compete in the 400 during state this past year. He ran the 100 and the 200. And no, he didn't even win the 200. He ran just the 100 only, and he ran a 10.13, broke the national record. This guy is on another level, and then he did participate in the 4x4 in high school, and he ran a 44.74 split 400. I know, obviously, you got to knock off like a whole second or so, like between 0.5 of a second to a whole second, or maybe even more than that, because your distance is a little bit shorter running the 400 in the 4x4 because it's a relay race, and it depends on where you start and finish. So I'm assuming it was a shorter distance for him. He might have ran 390 meters, who knows? But still, a 44.74 split in high school is unheard of. Again, like I mentioned earlier, your 400 time only improves your 200 and 100 time. Matthew Bowling was a quarter runner since he was in middle school. He ran the 400 every year, did not run the 100 at all in his career until he was a senior in high school, and that was at the Texas Southern Relays meet in March of 2019. That was the first 100-meter dash he's ever ran in his life, and he ran a 10.2. Got first, dusted everybody. Second place was a 10.5. So he beat him by 0.3 of a second, which is a huge difference in track. 0.3 is about 3 strides, and that's a huge difference. So Matthew Bowling is elite. Just like Stephen A. Smith would say about Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Boling is a bad man. And he can beat Tyreek Hill running head up right now. If you were to get these guys to run against